What began as a casual conversation turned into something I could never have anticipated. My husband, with his characteristic curiosity and the mischievous sparkle in his eyes, brought up the topic one night during dinner. At first I assumed he was joking, as we often exchanged playful banter, but this time there was something different, a sincerity in his gaze. He leaned in, his voice dropping to a hushed tone, and said it clearly he wanted me to see him with 2 women. My heart skipped a beat, unsure of how to react. This was not something I had ever envisioned within our marriage. However, the softness in his tone, filled with desire, made me hesitate. The suggestion lingered between us, a mix of excitement and unease swirling in my mind. Despite my initial shock, I felt a growing curiosity taking hold. Days passed, and the idea began to take root, evolving from a fleeting fantasy into something more tangible. My husband was patient, never rushing me, allowing me to come to terms with the thought at my own pace. But with each discussion, the spark in his eyes only intensified. Eventually, I found myself seeing the situation from a new perspective. What would it be like? Could it truly happen? Most importantly, could I let myself experience something so different and unfamiliar? As time went on, I began to daydream about the possibilities. The scenarios became more vivid, my heart racing with anticipation. Although I never voiced it, I knew I was intrigued. A part of me wondered what it would be like to watch my husband with someone else, 2 others, in fact. The mere thought awakened a longing within me that I hadn't realized existed. One evening, as we lay in bed, I turned to him, my heart pounding. With a soft smile, I simply said, "Okay." His eyes widened in surprise, but the disbelief quickly faded, replaced by pure excitement. Over the following nights, we discussed every detail and boundary, ensuring we were both comfortable. He told me about 2 women he had met, both intrigued by the idea and open to joining us. Hearing the enthusiasm in his voice only solidified my decision. When the night finally came, I was understandably nervous. My heart raced as I prepared, every touch feeling more intense than usual. Anticipation built, but a sense of calm had settled within me. I trusted him, and I knew this was a journey we were embarking on together. The room was softly lit when the 2 women arrived, beautiful, confident, and poised. They greeted me warmly, their eyes kind yet filled with an unspoken understanding of what was about to unfold. My husband stood by me, his hand on my lower back, offering silent reassurance that we were in this together. His excitement was palpable, and I knew this was something he had longed for. We spent some time chatting, the 4 of us easing into the evening, letting the tension simmer. There was no urgency, no pressure, just a mutual understanding that we would proceed at our own pace. The women were delightful, their laughter filling the room as we exchanged stories over glasses of wine. I found myself relaxing in their company, the initial nerves giving way to a quiet excitement simmering beneath the surface. Eventually, the conversation shifted, the atmosphere subtly changing as playful flirtation began. My husband was at the center, his charm drawing the women closer. I watched, experiencing a mix of emotions: excitement, curiosity, and something I couldn't quite identify. But it wasn't jealousy. It felt deeper, more like a sense of freedom, allowing him to explore this part of himself while also discovering something new within myself. When the first kiss happened, it was slow and tentative. One of the women leaned in, her lips brushing his, and I held my breath, watching. My heart raced as I took in the sight, his hand gently cradling her face, their lips moving together in a deliberate rhythm. The other woman watched too, her gaze flickering between them and me, as though gauging my reaction, but I couldn't look away. There was something captivating about the scene before me, something that drew me in deeper. The kiss intensified, becoming more passionate, and soon the second woman joined in, her lips meeting his. The 3 of them were fully immersed in the moment, and I watched, feeling my own body respond. Heat rose in my chest, spreading lower with each passing second. My husband glanced at me, our eyes locking briefly. In that moment I saw it, his desire for me, his need for me to be part of this, to witness it all. I moved closer, sitting on the edge of the bed, my heart pounding as I watched them. His hands moved over their bodies, exploring and caressing as the 3 of them swayed together in a slow, sensual rhythm. The tension in the room grew, thick with desire. The women kissed him deeply, their hands roaming his chest and arms, their movements becoming bolder and more insistent. Then, one of them turned to me, her eyes meeting mine with a soft, inviting smile. She extended her hand, and without hesitation, I took it, letting her guide me closer. Her lips met mine, soft and tender, filled with promise. I melted into the moment, her body warm against mine, her skin soft beneath my touch. The other woman joined in as well, her hand resting lightly on my thigh, her touch gentle yet purposeful. My husband observed us, his eyes darkened with desire, as the three of us intertwined, our lips and hands exploring each other's bodies. I could sense his gaze on me, and it only added to the intensity of the moment, knowing this was what he had longed for, what we had both agreed to experience together. The night stretched endlessly, every kiss, every touch amplifying the tension between us until it became almost unbearable. My husband's hands roamed everywhere, his kisses alternating between the two women and me, all of us entwined in a mess of limbs and soft sighs. The sensations overwhelmed me, each touch sending shivers down my spine, making my breath catch. We took our time exploring each other, savoring every moment, every inch of skin, every quiet moan escaping our lips. The intensity only grew, the passion building until it felt like time had ceased to exist, as though nothing beyond that room mattered. My husband was the focal point, his hands, his lips, his body moving between us, uniting us in an experience that was both personal and liberating. Then, as the night reached its climax, the tension finally released. I gasped, my body trembling in response as I watched my husband with the two women, their bodies entangled, soft moans filling the air. It was beautiful, sensual, and in that moment I felt weightless, lost in the pleasure of it all. Afterward we lay there, the four of us still entwined, our breathing steadying into soft, even rhythms. My husband held me close, his arms wrapped around me, planting gentle kisses on my forehead. The two women lay beside us, their hands resting on my skin, their presence still warm, still comforting. I smiled, a deep sense of satisfaction washing over me. This was something I had never imagined experiencing, something I thought I could never do. But now, lying here in the afterglow, I realized I had discovered something new about myself, about my husband, and about our marriage. The night had been more than just passion, it was a journey, a shared experience that had deepened the bond we already had. I felt more alive than I had in years, and I knew this was just the start of something new, something beautiful, something we could explore together. As I drifted to sleep, my husband's arms still wrapped around me, I felt a profound peace, knowing we had opened a new chapter in our lives, one filled with potential, with adventure, and above all, with love. The two women, who had been integral to this experience, remained close, their presence a gentle reminder of the deep intimacy we had shared. My husband's arms stayed wrapped around me, his touch warm and reassuring. I could feel his steady heartbeat against my back, a comforting rhythm. I reached out, my fingers lightly brushing the arm of one of the women. She turned toward me, her eyes soft and filled with quiet affection, mirroring my own emotions. I leaned in, pressing a gentle kiss to her lips, feeling the warmth of her response. She smiled, her fingers trailing softly down my arm, silently acknowledging the shared intimacy we had experienced. The other woman, equally graceful and tender, moved closer as well. Her lips met mine in a kiss that was tender yet exploratory, a reflection of the connection we had built. My husband's hands rested on both of us, guiding us with a loving touch that spoke of his deep care and desire. As we kissed, the room seemed to grow warmer, the air thick with a palpable sense of affection and desire. We explored each other's bodies with a newfound freedom, the kisses growing more passionate, the touches more intimate. There was no rush, no urgency, just a slow, deliberate unfolding of desire and connection. My husband's hands moved between us with a loving precision, each touch, each kiss feeling like a gift. He leaned in to kiss me, his lips lingering on mine, his breath warm and sweet. The women's hands roamed over my skin, their touches gentle yet confident, their kisses trailing along my neck and shoulders, sending shivers down my spine. We moved together, our bodies pressed close, exploring each other with a shared sense of wonder. The kisses deepened, became more intense as we allowed ourselves to be fully immersed in the moment. My husband's hands guided us all, his touch both tender and commanding, his kisses igniting a fire within me that burned brighter with every passing second. The passion between us was electric, the intimacy profound. Each kiss, each touch was a testament to the love and trust we had nurtured over the years. The room filled with soft moans and whispered words of affection, our bodies moving in a natural, exhilarating rhythm. As the night wore on, we continued to explore each other, our connection deepening with every touch. The intensity of the moment built to a peak, and we shared an experience that was both intensely personal and deeply shared. My husband's eyes never left me, filled with a mixture of love and desire as he continued to guide us all through this intimate journey. Finally, as the night reached its crescendo, we found a moment of perfect unity, our bodies and hearts coming together in a shared release that left us all breathless. We held each other close, our breaths mingling, our bodies tangled in a loving embrace. The room was filled with a sense of peace and satisfaction, a quiet acknowledgement of the deep connection we had all experienced. In the soft light of early morning, we lay together, our bodies still pressed close, our hearts full from the love and intimacy we had shared. My husband's arms stayed wrapped around me, his touch gentle and comforting, while the two women rested beside us, a reminder of the beautiful adventure we had begun. I closed my eyes, feeling content and fulfilled. The night had been more than just a physical act, it had been a journey of discovery, connection, and love. As we lay there together, I knew this was the start of a new beginning for us all, a new chapter filled with possibility, adventure, and, most of all, love. As the night continued, our bond deepened, an unspoken understanding guiding our actions as we became lost in the beauty of the moment. Every touch and every kiss drew us closer together, my husband's hands gentle yet intentional, tracing the curves of our bodies with a tenderness that revealed his deep affection. His kisses were a mix of passion and gentleness, lingering longer with each one, and each touch kindled a warmth that spread through me. The two women, just as engaged in the moment, reflected the intensity of our shared bond. They moved with graceful confidence, their hands and lips exploring with a mutual sense of desire. The kisses we exchanged were slow and sensual, creating a rhythm that matched the steady beat of the night. We explored each other's bodies with a new sense of freedom, the boundaries we once knew dissolving into a shared closeness. The warmth of the room enveloped us, our breaths mingling in the soft, dim light. Every touch and every kiss became a celebration of our deepening connection, a testament to the trust and love we had cultivated over the years. My husband's gaze often met mine, filled with a deep sense of satisfaction and love. His touches were tender but carried an undeniable passion, each movement expressing his desire to make this night unforgettable for all of us. His hands moved over my skin, his kisses traveling from my lips to my neck, leaving a trail of affection that left me breathless. The two women, their presence a perfect addition to our evening, responded with equal tenderness. Their touches were soft, their kisses warm, creating a dynamic of intimacy that was both exciting and soothing. Each of us contributed to an experience that was unique and deeply fulfilling, moving together in a dance of affection and desire. As the night went on, our kisses became more intense, our touches more exploratory, as we fully embraced the freedom of the moment. There was no rush, no urgency, just a slow, deliberate exploration of each other's desires and needs. As the evening progressed, the energy in the room shifted, with the passion between us building to a peak. We were all completely immersed in the experience, our bonds deepening with every touch. The physical closeness we shared was paired with an emotional intimacy that made the moment even more meaningful. When we finally reached the climax of our shared experience, the sense of unity and fulfillment was undeniable. We held each other close, our bodies intertwined in a loving embrace, and the room was filled with a peaceful silence, a reflection of the deep connection we had just experienced. In the quiet that followed, we continued to hold one another as our breathing slowly returned to normal. The softness of the sheets and the warmth of our bodies created a cocoon of intimacy that felt both comforting and serene. My husband's arms were wrapped around me, his touch gentle and reassuring, while the two women rested beside us, their presence a comforting reminder of the beautiful journey we had shared. As the night gave way to the first light of morning, we lay together, our hearts full of the love and connection we had experienced. The sense of adventure and discovery had brought us closer, deepening our bond in ways we had never expected. I felt a profound peace and satisfaction, knowing that this night had opened a new chapter in our lives, one filled with love, trust, and mutual respect. We had shared something truly special, something that would forever remain a cherished memory. As we drifted into sleep, wrapped in each other's embrace, I knew that the love we had shared that night would continue to grow, nurturing our connection and guiding us through the adventures that awaited us.